Hey, sports fans, Larry Eater, Run Blog Run. This is Conversations with Larry. Single topic video where I pontificate. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward there. So, um, the first American track league meeting had great performances, but because they had zero sponsorship, they really had to juggle a lot. And you got to pat them on the back for having a meet during the pandemic, which is insane. You got to thank the University of Arkansas for letting them do everything there, which was pretty incredible. You got to thank the athletes, the officials, and the folks who volunteered for the meet. But watching it on TV, there were highlights and there were frustrations. The middle of the week after Ryan Krauser's world record of 22.82, Grant Holloway's 7:35 equaling of the American record in the 60-meter hurdles, some nice pole vaulting, some stellar 60-meter running, including Trayvon Bromel's 6:48, his best time since 2016. USATF sent out a Instagram note that they would be involved with the American Track League. They were going to put some money where their mouth is. They were going to help within kind. And you can see the difference from the time the broadcast began. What do I mean by that? Well, we had Paul Swangard, Otto Bolden, and Lewis Johnson on the broadcast. Paul opened it like he does wonderfully, putting the meet in perspective, letting us see what was coming, getting us a little bit excited. Otto Bolden came in with his thoughtful comments, some pithy, and he also, sorry about that. And then Lewis Johnson did what he does best, which was, I believe, puts the athletes in context. He does on post-event interviews. He also does some pre-recorded interviews with athletes as well, so we get a little bit more. They used to call it on ABC up close and personal. What I think now is they really do show us other sides, like Tiana Bartoletto as a yoga instructor, like Michael Weibo and Sean A. Miller Weibo doing some of the in-home exercises they do. Those things were fun. Those were things that we'll remember. It humanizes the athletes. Track and field is the late great Peyton Jordan, the former coach at Stanford University, used to say was the first sport. I really think it's the only sport. Everything else is just games. But what track and field's about is people running, jumping, and throwing. And just like we did 3,000 years ago, our predecessors did, we idolize people who can jump farther, throw farther, run faster than most of us. Most of us can do those things, but at a modest level. What track and field is about is building the story about what people are doing that's great now. And we really need them now in this pandemic. And kudos to Paul Swangard and to Otto Bolden and to Lewis Johnson for giving us 2 hours of absolutely amazing indoor athletics. Also, the TV crew that did this meet and the producer, and I will find his name and we will say something nice about him or her. Great job. Really did it well. Ryan Krauser had a great series of shots. Sandy Morris came back from coronavirus and went 481 in her first real competition. Shawnee Miller Weibo, who hasn't been indoors in a long, long time, one of the finest track and field sprinters ever. She ran 22:40. I think she can go close to 22 seconds indoors. That's how good she is on the right track. And the University of Arkansas at Fayetteville is the right track. What Lance Harder and the other coaches at the Razorback world do is They've got a fast track. They've got a wonderful facility. They've got people who know how to manage it. They've got a facility team that is second to none. I would recommend anybody doing a meet there. It rocks and rolls. I want to spend some time down there and worship it. It's a sanctuary of sport. That's all you can say about it, you know. So you had Ryan Krauser. You had really nice pole vault by Sandy Morris. Ryan in the shot. You had Shawnee in the 200. You had good 60-meter runs. Mikia Briscoe won the women's. It was, and she did it in a really good way. Hannah Cunliffe running really well. Candace Hill showing some of her promise again in her round, and I think she slipped in the final. Maurice Eady won the 60 in 6:63 from Marvin Bracey, and it was a good race. It wasn't as fast as I expected, but again, good race, early season. So a lot of these guys are just getting into their first races, but some great performances. Really killer 600. Sammy Watson won the women's 600 by a centimeter, as did Nicholas Hilson in the 600 men's. We missed Donovan Brazier and Raven Rogers because they had been around someone who tested positive over the weekend for COVID. They have tested negative, but COVID protocols suggest not letting them compete, keeping them isolated. So we hope that they're better. We hope to see them race again soon. The meet ended on an incredible note. We were all pretty impressed with Shawnee Miller-Weibo, but also hats off to Shamir Little. Shamir is a world-class athlete who's competed in world championships at the 400-meter hurdles. She is one tough athlete, and she ran against one of the finest sprinters in Olympic history and held her own. Yeah, Shawnee did her thing, but Shamir made it a race, and that hats off to Shamir for that. And in the final race, and this is, I'm going to kind of build this up a la Paul Swangard and Otto Bolden and Lewis Johnson. In the best meets that I go to, one of the things that I like is that you leave the stadium going, my God, I can't wait till next year. That happens in virtually every meet I go to in the UK. In the years that Ian Stewart helped produce those events, he always picked events like Mo Farah at the end of a meet, or Laura Muir at the end of a meet, but something that really shook up the British fans. And this time it was for the American fans. Bryce Hoppel, who was fourth in the 2019 World Championships, who broke Jim Ryan's NCAA record of 50 years, that would have been there for 50 years in the 800, and who went through his senior year, I believe, winning 21 straight races. In his first indoor excursion, he got out early and he dominated the race, and he won big time, going 1:44.36, kind of surprising himself a little bit, setting a PB, but also a world leader. But here's what he said that was interesting. When Lewis was interviewing him afterwards, he said, Lewis said something to the effect that, you've got one of the best times a second on the U.S. list, and it'd be nice to see you racing Donovan. And Bryce said something to the effect that it'd really be nice to be number one. So good, healthy competition, a beautiful facility. Sorry there were no fans there, but I can tell you that on our Twitter universe, when we covered the first meet, we had about 70,000 folks, sets of eyeballs, following our 61 tweets during the 2 hours. And then we followed up the next day and got another 25,000 eyeballs. This meet, during the live coverage, we did 51 tweets with about 65,000 eyeballs. But the next day we surpassed that. Again, posting up new photos, posting up commentary. We were over 90,000 eyeballs in 2 days. So it tells you this meet's enduring. And the next day, we're already at 50,000. People loved the meet. What a difference a week made. Thanks to Max Siegel, the CEO at USA Track and Field, and the USA Track and Field board for taking some of that money that they've got from sponsors and putting it into the series. Paul Doyle is a dreamer. We need dreamers in the sport. Paul's mortgaged his house a couple times. He's, hawked everything, and he's done everything but doing Chippendales dancing. I don't want to suggest that, Paul. We love you, man, but Chippendales may be a bit much for me to see. But he put everything he could into it. Sandy Morris helped with the announcing. Lewis Johnson had to juggle it all by himself a week ago, and that was tough. He's sure got to be happy having his buddies back. Paul Swangard and Otto Bolden, I think, are two of the finest announcers anywhere in the world. Paul just has this confident way of communicating and giving us information and facts, and he knows how to breathe when he's between words so we can comprehend it. Otto Bolden is an Olympian. I watched him in World Champs. I watched him in the 96 Olympics. The guy's been there. He knows the stuff. He doesn't pull punches, and he doesn't suffer fools. He'll tell you like it is. And between Swangard and Otto and Lewis Johnson, one of the finest teams on any network, terrestrial, streaming, anything. A lot of people can learn from that meet on Sunday. It was really well done. And a couple friends in the know, we all wanted the meet to be better than the week before, but they just put it all together. And what it tells you is when you're in a sanctuary of sport with great athletes and a great team and everybody's professional, you can have great sports TV. And that was great sports TV on Sunday. It wasn't modest. It was great sports TV. So bravo to Paul Doyle Sports Management, the University of Arkansas, ESPN, Paul Swangard, Otto Bolden, Lewis Johnson, all the athletes, the sponsors, Max Siegel, Adam Schmenck, who produces most of the USATF TV shows and does a good job. Adam's from Wisconsin, so we got to love him. But the thing about Adam is, and he doesn't like to highlight, is he's in background. He's the reason why we have great TV and track and field in this country. So send him a love note. He's a good guy. I'll have to buy him a Gartenbrau beer or something like that. Anyway, American Track and Field Meeting 2, superb meet. Got me really pumped on a great day of track and field. Thank you for everybody involved. That's the way track should be covered. This is Conversations with Larry. If you like RunBlogRun, like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you love us, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We had 369 videos last year, 2,500 videos in audio since 2010 when we started all this craziness in social media. And thank you to Mike Deering for producing the Zoom, producing 369 videos last year. I mean, it was insane. He's put up with me a lot. Thanks to my brother Brian for encouraging me to start writing on RunBlogRun in 2007. And thanks to my son Adam and to Mike Deering for coming up with Conversations with Larry, Socialing the Distance, and Athletics Chat. 3 of your favorite programs, okay? Stay safe. If you're indoors, please wear a mask. This is the scariest time of COVID right now, and it's a shit show all over the world. So just wear a mask and wash your hands. Exercise and hydrate. When you go outside, if you can't be more than 6 feet away, wear a mask. Rather be safe. I want to see you guys at the Prefontaine. I want to see you at a small meet in Switzerland. I want to see you at the Europeans. I want to see you at the World Championships. I want to see you at the Olympics. I want to see you at a high school meet in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay? So stay safe. All right? We got many years to go. All right, Larry Eater signing off.